Are you in? The Lord commands us to go into all the world and make disciples. How many of you were involved in doing shoeboxes last year? Either actually packing shoeboxes, contributing money, at the packing party, carting boxes around? Okay, good. Doug, you were part of sharing the gospel to 800,000 kids in the Philippines. Shanna, your family helped share the gospel in the primarily Muslim country of Indonesia. Who else raised their hand? Pat. You were able to give hope to children without parents in the Ukraine. They now know that they have a Father in heaven that will never leave them. Who else did I see? Jen, Glory, and Jen. You guys were part in 21,000 kids in Namibia, Africa, going through the discipleship class, The Greatest Journey. And Naomi, you were part of bringing the gospel into a closed country, someplace where Christianity is outlawed, and for the first time, the gospel was heard in a place, one of the darkest places on earth. So thank you guys, and all of you that participated. Can we go on to the next slide? Okay. So Jesus commands us to go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey you with everything that I've commanded you. So today, I'd like to hopefully inform you about Operation Christmas Child, encourage you by sharing what's going on around the world, and then I really hope you leave here today challenged to really do something, if not for Operation Christmas Child, to be equipped to go share the gospel. Okie dokie. So let me open us in prayer. Dear Lord, I just thank you so much for being here today, for the opportunity that we have to share about missions, about Samaritan's Purse, about Operation Christmas Child. May you just open our hearts to hear what you have to say. In your name, amen. Let's go on to the mission of Operation Christmas Child. The mission of Operation Christmas Child is to demonstrate God's love in a tangible way to needy children around the world, and together with the local church worldwide to share the good news of Jesus Christ. God's at work shaping history to accomplish his purposes. He's continually inviting us to join in. He moves in the hearts of thousands to accomplish what he has through Operation Christmas Child. Together, we can join him and become part of his story. Operation Christmas Child uses the shoebox as a tool to open the door for the gospel to be shared, to make disciples of all tribes and nations and peoples. As it says in Proverbs 18:16, a gift opens the way for the giver and ushers him into the presence of the great. And we use those shoeboxes to be able to share the gospel. Bob Pierce, the founder of Samaritan's Purse, challenges us and says, the gospel has to be the heart of everything we do. When we help somebody like the Samaritan did, we then earn the right to be heard. We must take advantage of that right and present Jesus. And that shoebox represents the greatest gift of all, the gift of Jesus Christ. It's a privilege to serve as part of this ministry and to work with many of you throughout the year in putting together these shoeboxes. And I have a video here that shows you a little more what Samaritan's Purse is involved in and how shoeboxes are used.
Every day is becoming more of a challenge to get out there. Rain's coming in heavier and heavier. Roads are sliding away. How do you cross that hurdle? And we're still trying to just plow through this and get to people.
Let's go. We hear gunshots, we hear bombs. It's been an honor to serve with some of these people who left their own families behind to come here with the risk of not knowing whether they would come back home or not.
Ebola has now become a part of the world.
As staff of Samaritan Press, we go where nobody dared to go.
Disasters come, storms come. Every time we see the news in the morning, I'm always asking myself, I wonder if Samaritan's Purse can make a difference in that situation.
Samaritan's Purse, we go to the hard places of the world, we go to the remote places of the world, and then when we are there, we meet their emergency needs.
Amen.
When people ask us, why are you doing this? I say to them, we are only showing you the love of Christ.
Haiti has been hit by a massive hurricane.
Everybody that's here right now walked in here 3 or 4 hours, and today, even with a bunch of pack mules carrying supplies in.
We do come to treat, but really mainly we come to share the gospel, to tell people the good news that Christ died for them.
I love that Samaritan's Purse is in the darkest areas of the world.
It's 5:30 in the morning here in northern Iraq. We've come a long way to deliver these shoebox gifts to children living in refugee camps this Christmas.
Over 400,000 refugees fled from the terror of ISIS. It's cold, it's damp. Samaritan's Purse has been providing mattresses, blankets, coats, shoes.
The church in Niger is a persecuted church. On the 16th and 17th of January, mobs started burning the churches. People basically had to flee for their lives. Samaritan's Purse came and helped them out, and they're not forgotten.
You see, I don't believe we ever back up. We don't surrender. We don't give in.
What motivated Jesus Christ to go to that horrible crucifixion? That same love is what motivates us to not back down.
You've got to be willing in your heart to give it all up. Surrender everything.
We're evangelizing, discipling, and multiplying across the globe.
God's going to take you on a journey of faith, step by step.
But our goal is to go along and let them see who we truly are. Let them see our actions, and we're going to minister to everyone.
What part of the world are you going to make a mark for Jesus Christ? I've had people say, why don't you wait till they come to you? No, we go to them. Go ye therefore into all the world to make disciples.
People from all tongues, tribes, and nations will come to faith.
In what part of the world is our church going to make a difference? And what part of the world are you going to make a difference? Something to think about. God wants to take us on a journey of faith. How exciting. So let's go to 25th anniversary. 28 years ago, Operation Christmas Child was begun by Bob Pierce, who many of you may have heard of. And then 3 years later, for health reasons, he asked Franklin Graham to take it over. And that's what we now know, from 1993. So this year, 2018, will be our 25th anniversary year. That first year that Franklin Graham took over in 1993, they sent out, I believe it was 15,000 boxes to Bosnia. And that was the beginning. Since then, in the last 25 years, we've sent out 146 million shoe boxes. So that's 146 million kids whose lives have been impacted and maybe whose families have been impacted by this ministry. So where do these boxes go? I believe this is going to be hard for you guys to see. Can you see? Can you guys over here see when I'm standing here? No. No. Okay. I didn't think so. I'll just talk from back here. It's not just the United States that collects shoeboxes. Australia, New Zealand, Spain, London, England, Finland, I believe. There's 9 countries, other countries that collect shoeboxes. The colored areas are the areas that they go. And yes, some shoeboxes do go to Native Americans here in our country, but the majority go throughout the world. And the interesting thing is this year, as you know, Texas, Florida, Puerto Rico, and parts of Louisiana were just devastated by the hurricanes. Those areas, those states usually pack shoeboxes. So this year, we're going to be hopefully packing more. We've been challenged to pack even more to make up for that, because for the first time, they're going to be on the receiving end from Samaritan's Purse, and many of them already have. So let's see how worldwide, last year, over 11 million shoeboxes, almost 11 and a half shoeboxes went out. United States, over 9 million. Okay, so quite a few. And then Christ First, 2,045. So that was a 400% increase from the previous year. So that was incredible, absolutely incredible. And here are the countries that the boxes went to. They went to the Philippines, as I said, 800,000 boxes from our area. Indonesia, primarily a Muslim country. Ukraine, those boxes went to orphanages for kids. Namibia in Africa, and then to a restricted country. And I don't know what country that is, but that is a country where the gospel is certainly, Christianity is outlawed. And those boxes don't go necessarily directly to kids. They go to a pastor, and he carefully or she carefully distributes those boxes. So I don't believe we have videos or anything like that. That's done very carefully. Next slide. I love this picture of the kids. Pretty typical picture. These are kids that receive the shoeboxes, and a simple shoebox gift can bring joy and comfort to hurting children and open doors for entire communities to hear the message of love and of redemption from sin through Jesus. As these eternal truths take root, broken families are restored, churches are established, and a new generation of believers bear witness to the Lord's faithfulness. I love this little guide too. World population right now, 7.4 billion. 7.4 billion. 2 billion of those are under 15, so almost 25% are under 15. 80% of Christians accepted Christ, chose Christ, before they were 14 years old. 80%. So that is why Operation Christmas Child gears their ministry to children, because children are much more receptive and responsive to the gospel. In this country, I think this is so interesting. In Mongolia, just to share with you the effects of the shoebox ministry. In Mongolia, we know of at least 9 new churches that have been planted as a result of shoebox distribution and the gospel presentation in just the last 2 years. 20 years ago, there were just a few hundred Christians in all of Mongolia. So, now I'm sorry we don't have the click, click, click on the clock, but every 20 seconds, a child is accepting Christ, is coming into the Lord, that's going through the discipleship class, the greatest journey. Every 20 seconds, 3 kids a minute. For every 100 boxes that we send out, 14 kids accept the Lord. 14. Many of the boxes go to children that already know the Lord. Okay, so but that's 14 new Christians. So think about that. Our church sent out last year roughly 2,000 boxes. That's 280 new baby believers. We've doubled the size of our church. Isn't that cool? I mean, think about that. In 1 year, we've doubled the size of our church. But we want to do more, and the only way we can do that is through volunteers like you. So let's look at our goals for this year. Worldwide, we want to do 12 million. United States, 10 million. The West Coast region of California, Nevada, and Hawaii, 700,000. San Gabriel Valley, 44,444. And Christ First, 2,050. And we're going to do way more than that. But let me tell you, last year when we set the goals, at my husband's memorial service, we did 1,000 boxes. And many of those boxes were from people not from our church. So while it looks like, oh, we're only increasing our goal by 5, really we're increasing our goal by like 1,000. So that's just the explanation for that. So let's look at the cost of a shoebox. And I know you can't see the detail there, but there's the cost of we did 2 kinds of shoeboxes this year. And thanks to many of you, Beanie Baby donations, stuffed animal donations, Hot Wheels, all kinds of games and toys. But we were able to do boxes for $6. Oh, wait. $4.14 is one box, and $7.89 for another box. Today, at the packing party, we're going to be packing these $7.89 boxes. These have the soccer balls and the pumps, and that's what makes them more. But the average cost of a shoebox is $6.02. Next year, we're even going to have that cheaper because we know of a better source to get soccer balls. So we're going to knock that down a couple dollars. So, and then $9 for shipping, so $15. So $15, we're going to do 2,000 boxes. We need about $30,000 in donations and all that to do boxes this year. As of this morning, when I got to church here, we needed about 800, I think, and now we need like 4,500. So that was awesome, just the donations that came in this morning. So I know God's going to take care of that. Okay, let's talk about the $9 shipping. I want to let you know that Friday, I went to the Covina post office right here on the corner with one of our shoe boxes, and I said, okay, so how much does it cost to send a shoebox to Odessa, Ukraine? Since that's where one of our boxes went, $35.25. I said, okay, so how about Jakarta, Indonesia? And that was $33.25. So I wanted to go for myself and find out because I'd heard, oh, $50, $40, whatever, but $35. So it's quite a bargain for us for $9. But we're not just paying for the shipping. It covers collection costs of getting all the boxes together, the cost at the processing center, the actual shipping, going through customs, and then the training of the pastors and the volunteers that are going to teach the discipleship classes. So it really, that $9 is really a bargain when you think about it. Okay, next slide.
I've never been out of the country, but because of Operation Christmas Child, I am an international missionary.
You feel like you're doing your job or what God has called you to do when you see that unity of other fellow believers coming together in one common cause.
Knowing that we're making a difference, knowing that we get to make a global difference together, and it unites the local churches together, both in the States and internationally. At the same time, it's getting people locally to think globally. It's a simple way for people to think about the world, and not just think about it, but actually do something.
Every single shoebox is a child who's meeting Christ, and just remembering the importance of every box and really just leaving the rest of it to God.
The work of Operation Christmas Child is having quite a big impact.
Jesus loves you.
A box is not just a gift. In the hands of the local pastors, these boxes can be used as a tool to touch a whole community.
They never seen that someone care for them, someone give for them. When I see a smile face of a children, just like inspiring me to serve ministry.
They are not only getting these gift boxes, but they also get the greatest gift booklet that they can take home and read that Jesus is the greatest gift of all.
From the inside, I want to say thank you for OCC, thank you for a beautiful time, so thank you so much.
We intentionally invest a lot of time in training our team in order to make sure that the gospel is clearly communicated throughout our outreach events and the Greatest Journey classroom.
We want to disciple to make a stronger foundation of empowering the new generation. They know the story of God, and they can tell others by using the books.
Every shoebox is really the beginning of the journey of evangelism and discipleship, and that leads into multiplication. And the multiplication of lives, the multiplication of churches, really impact on communities and a ripple effect around the world.
You begin the process as you pack a shoebox.
We value shoebox, and we thank you for the hand who packs the box.
We're part of a team, and we're partners in the gospel through Operation Christmas Child and through Samaritan's Purse.
Just wanted to show you, this is the booklet that they go through. We have some out, we'll have them out this afternoon at the packing party as well, that you kind of get an idea. It's the whole story from Genesis on through Jesus on the cross and the resurrection. It's awesome, okay? But this is what the kids go through. It's not just about they get a box of goodies and that's it. They get a box, they get a booklet, and then they're offered the discipleship class and they go through that. So, pretty cool. Can I get the next slide? Thank you. So, John 3:16. Can we all read this together? I think most of you know it. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. So this is the good news that we're sharing. This is what we're about. But it doesn't happen with just me or just Ellie or just with a couple of us. It takes all of us, okay? It takes a whole group. So the next slide. This is a couple of weeks ago in our church lounge on a Friday morning, people working on getting stuff ready for the shoe boxes. This year, we talked about getting donations. We've been collecting money and focusing on that rather than handing out the shoe boxes for you to give and fill, because we found out we could fill so many more shoe boxes so much more reasonably buying in bulk. But once we receive all that stuff, we need to unwrap it, like with the soccer balls. They need to be unwrapped. They need to be flattened more. Those pumps need to go inside. They need to get wrapped and rubber banded. Okay, to do that to 1,100 soccer balls takes time. So that's just one of the tasks we're working on. Then folding the boxes. Then this is last year's packing party. We had allowed 3 hours to pack 500 boxes, and we were done in an hour. So today, we're so organized that we're thinking we're going to do 1,000 boxes in about an hour. So we'll see. That's our goal. Hold up the slide for a second. The other thing about at the packing party this afternoon, we are going to be having a young lady from the Middle East who received a shoebox, and she's going to be sharing with us. So the program will be here at 2 o'clock. We'll start packing boxes. We'll probably be ready to take a little bit of a break. She'll speak to us for about 15 minutes or so. We'll have the opportunity to ask her any questions, take pictures next to our display or whatever, and then we'll be knocking out any boxes that we need to finish up. So I really encourage you to come this afternoon. Then, once we get the boxes filled, they need to be taken to a church. This year it's going to be in Chino. And so on November 14th, we also need volunteers with trucks or vans to take these 200 boxes, the 200 cartons to Chino. So you'll have the opportunity to serve then as well. That's November 14th. But last year, if you worked on this, we packed them in cartons and then got there and discovered we had packed them in the wrong cartons and had to repackage, and it turned out to be an all-day painful process. But we did it and we got it done. This year, they're going to be packed in the correct boxes, and we're going to be good to go. So if you can volunteer to help us, we're just going to be loading up the boxes, driving them, unloading them, praying for them, and we're done. Okay? All right, and this is a team that worked last year. There were more people that weren't here this particular day, but this was the day that we were loading the boxes. Okay, then once we take the boxes to the processing center, all of them get prayed for. So we ask God to bless the people that pack the box. We ask for God's protection over the boxes as they're shipped, that they're expedited through customs quickly and without problems. And then, of course, we're praying for the child and the family of the child who's receiving the box. So it's very moving to be a part of that in actually laying hands on the boxes and praying for them. Then we're also praying for people who may have packed the box, who may not know the Lord. They may just have done it as a part of a community project or whatever, and we also want to remember them and to pray for them. Then, processing center. We should have Bill and Judy at the processing center. Yeah. So you'll also have the opportunity to serve at a processing center. We'll have sign-ups today and the next couple of weeks. But at the processing center, they take the boxes, we open them up, go through and make sure there's not anything in the box that shouldn't be there, rewrap them up, and then they're on their way to go. And I actually have a cute little video that shows what happens at the processing center. Well, almost. Okay, this next slide is a slide of my daughter, Jenny, and myself, actually at the processing center in front of a container, ready to go. It's just ready to be sealed up, but they let us come back there, and we prayed for these boxes. They were headed to the Philippines, and the next time those boxes were getting opened was by children in the Philippines. So it was pretty moving and pretty incredible. And then just showing you one way boxes are delivered. I mean, it's amazing to see how they get to these remote locations, and Ellie's going to talk to you a little bit more about that. But Ellie, I'd like to introduce Ellie Graves. She is the area coordinator for San Gabriel Valley, and she had the opportunity to go to, I'll take this, to Rwanda in May and distribute shoe boxes. So.
I hope that's for Judy, since I haven't even opened my mouth yet, but I am a local. My children went to Charter Oak High School. I live here in the area, and I have been part of Operation Christmas Child now for 12 years. In that amount of time, it's been amazing to see how God has truly placed his hands on the San Gabriel Valley. We go from Chino Hills, Claremont, Montclair, to Pasadena, Alhambra, all along the 210, the 10, and the 60 corridors. And we have gotten so blessed by the Lord that we are going to be going to multiply into the East team, up to the 605 freeway, and then the West team. And I say that because you have helped do that. In the years that we have been operating, the first year, 12 years ago, they asked me to fill 500 shoe boxes. And after my heart started beating again, I said, I don't know how to fill 500 shoe boxes. And that year we turned in almost 1,000. This year, our goal, as you heard, is 44,444, which means by the end of this season, we are praying for a total in those 12 years of 250,000 shoeboxes. And that's what you guys did in San Gabriel Valley. So give yourself a hand clap. Also, to piggyback on what Judy has said, I was a missionary to Ukraine for 4 years. And so the fact that your shoeboxes went to Ukraine really touched my heart. I'm thrilled to death. We'll learn about where the destinations are this year. By the time we go to the processing center, they wait until the very last minute to see where the biggest needs are. Because as Judy said, there's how many billion kids around the world that we want to touch, and we want to make sure that they have the biggest impact. And so we will find those out at the processing center. This afternoon, you're going to be hearing from Danya, and she will have quite a story to tell. And I have a little bit of a story to tell, too, on my trip. As you can see from these slides, this is Rwanda. 5 years ago, I had the opportunity to go to Uganda, and it looked much like this. But the difference in Rwanda was they had a genocide there a number of years ago where 1 million people were slaughtered in 100 days. And thankfully, we were able to step in and stop that. But immediately following that genocide, the Samaritan's Purse was on the ground and was such an influential part of that recovery that when I went there, there were people there that were part of the genocide. You could see these generations missing, where it went from the very young children that are being born now to the very old people like me, gray hairs, except they don't have gray hair. But in the middle is what was missing. And the hatred and the assembling of humanity in those 100 days defined that nation. But when it stopped, thanks to, has anybody here seen the movie Hotel Rwanda? I couldn't see that movie until I came back. And we actually stayed at Hotel Rwanda. It was quite enlightening. But the hope that is in that country now because of Samaritan's Purse and Jesus Christ and the Christianity of the country is amazing to see. We happened to be there on the anniversary of the genocide. And so every year they say, never again, never again. Remember the genocide, never again. And where am I on my slides? I forgot them the last time. There we go. These are the kids actually getting the shoeboxes, and this was a lot of fun. You see the kids, and they all hold up their baskets, and there's always one that gets a clear plastic shoeboxes, and you can just see them trying to look into the box and seeing what they've got. But the kids are first taught, in this slide you can see, they're first taught the gospel and the greatest gift. The greatest gift is a little pamphlet that they get, but they always have a presentation by a leader from their church that tells them about it ahead of time, and this is them getting it. We now publish the greatest gift in over 102 languages. The side effect of that is that children are being taught to read, where they would not have the opportunity to learn how to read, and especially girls. Girls are never taught to read in a lot of countries around the world, so that's a huge, huge part of it. In the, on the right, that would be your right. There's a love letter there, and I took a picture of the young man that actually got the box, and so I can write to the people that I gave their box, to those children, and especially this young man who loved his box. Next one. Since 2009, more than 10 million children around the world have joined classrooms teaching the greatest journey. Children learn how to follow Jesus Christ and how to share their faith with family and friends. The biggest change in the greatest journey that Judy showed you was there is now a lesson on Martha and Mary that's been included in the greatest journey, and that's to teach respect for women. And all of us in this room can identify with what's going on in the news today. Respect women, and especially respect them as your sisters in Christ. What a side effect that is that was never seen and never expected. So we're blessed to do that.